Hello. I'm not doing a long video this week because we have relatives staying over from Australia, so there's a lot going on. Speaking of Australia though, something I've always wanted is the EEVBlog 121GW multimeter. Not just because it's a very competent multimeter in itself, but because also it can reflect readings onto a computer screen that I can then capture for you guys on YouTube, so you can see the readings I'm taking as I'm working on something. But it's a very expensive piece of equipment, and by the time you've got the transport costs from Australia, it's not really something I can afford. I don't think I'll ever...
Happy Christmas, Uncle Colin!
Oh, I say! Thank you so much! I wonder what's in this! Okay, let's see what's inside this beautifully wrapped Christmas present. EEVBlog, no bullshit packaging. 121GW multimeter. User manual can be downloaded. There'll be later versions of firmware than one shipped with the meter. Make sure you upgrade. Okay, I'll do that. Type K thermocouple, I think that is. The serial number. I gather there are two different types of probes you can get. Is it gold and not gold? Which ones do we have? I think they're the not gold ones. They feel very nice, actually. They do feel decent. And the multimeter itself, nice rubbery feel to this. Of course, it's much deeper than most meters. Let's get this protective cover off. Don't they normally have a little extra piece that you can grab hold of? I think it's quite difficult to get started. Comparing it to my old multimeter, it's actually a very different shape. It's much smaller in those sort of dimensions. The screen's a lot smaller though, and its actual depth is about the same. I'd always assumed that the 121 GW meter was much deeper, but actually it isn't, is it? So it has a battery installed already. Nice stand-up stand. That's something that's broken on this. The stand long since disappeared, so I wasn't able to prop it up. But the reason I wanted to prop this one up so often was because I wanted to be able to let you guys see it, and that's something I shouldn't have to do with this, because I'll be able to send the readings up to the PC and let you see the readings there. Right, I'm going to download the user manual and update the firmware, and also install any software on the PC that we need in order to do the communications with it. Well, it turns out the latest version of software at the moment is version 2.05, so I do not need to do a firmware update. So the software we can install here for the PC. One slight failing though, this particular PC is a desktop which does not presently have a Bluetooth dongle, so I'm going to have to find one from somewhere and fit that before I can make the software work. But let's start with just installing the software. Right, I've added a Bluetooth receiver to the computer, and apparently holding this button switches on the Bluetooth. Right, BT is illuminated, so now hopefully now it's enabled, we'll be able to see the meter in the list here. This seems a bit not working. Select the 121GW to connect to, and there's a settings, and that does absolutely nothing. And the Bluetooth is on here, and we have Bluetooth on the computer, and it's available on the device manager. Okay, we've been getting a bit stuck. We have the multimeter and it has a Bluetooth option, but when I select BT on that, the computer doesn't see it. It has a fairly sort of generic Bluetooth receiver device, but this does work with other devices, because actually I can transfer data via Bluetooth to other computers in the house using that. So I thought, well, let's just check that the Bluetooth is working on the multimeter. So I used my phone to do that, S21 Ultra, about 2 years old, and it can see this on this list of Bluetooth devices. But it can't connect to it using the EEVBlog's Android app, because the app won't load on that phone. Apparently it's incompatible. Now why not? It's only about a 2-year-old phone, why can't I load the EEVBlog app on that phone? So there's another brick wall. Now I could possibly try to connect it to a laptop, might still have to do that. But of course what we're trying to do here is get these readings on the PC that's in my workshop. So to that effect, I've said, well, maybe the sort of generic Bluetooth dongle is not the best. I've bought a new one, TP-Link, proper branded one. We'll connect this to the workshop computer and see if we can use the software to detect and use the multimeter. Right, let's go on with that. Okay, Bluetooth 5.0, it says. It does look like a better piece of equipment actually, so let's install that on the workshop computer. Okay, let's switch this on. Press and hold the button which enables Bluetooth, and let's see if it appears. Aha, at last. Now I can start the EEVBlog software, connect the device. Select the device to connect to. Now we're getting somewhere. Test. At last. Okay, let's give it some readings. Oh, this is just what we needed, isn't it? We'll connect up the probes. Okay, you can use these both with for higher voltage with these covers on, or for lower voltage work. Remove those. That's a good idea. And there are threads on here, so you can screw on such things as croc clips, none supplied. Let's see if we have anything that will fit that. Okay, I have one of those, but might be nice if that sort of thing had been supplied. So obtain some of those if you get one of these multimeters. And I'm going to go for a low ohms measurement, so just connecting that to itself. And we're reading something like 40 milliohms, which of course we could zero off, but it's good to just get that sort of base measurement. Just looking at the settings. Now, are there any other adjustments we can make within the app? So looking at the app, when you go to settings, all you get is select the device to connect to. You don't have any other options, so it doesn't, for example, include any built-in recording software that I can see. So here I am measuring the short circuit connection, which is, I'll say, around about sort of 40 milliohms. If I right click on this, then it'll plot a graph for me. Oh, that's quite good. Presumed I can save that data as well. Right click again, back to the main screen. Left click does it too. So if I deliberately make the resistance go quite a lot higher, let's see what the graph does. Just trying to get it still reading in the... I'm not doing an open circuit because that'll completely mess up the scale. Just going into the somewhat more ohms area. And it's continuously plotting against time, but I'm not... Am I getting any kind of axis? Is that the reading at the bottom is in seconds, I think? Yeah. So I've got seconds against milliohms. How do I stop the capture? If I hit hold, what happens? Perhaps confusingly, it actually carries on plotting, even though the readings are on hold. If I switch to another range, like volts, then we'll get a new plot. Okay, it's not clear to me how we save the data. It's actually possible. There's no sort of help function here. It's interesting to note that the display doesn't actually do a complete reflection of what's on the multimeter. So if we look at the multimeter here, we are getting that reflection on the display. Admittedly, there's a delay of maybe a second or something. But if I select different features here in the top of the screen there, for example, it's giving me the battery voltage on here. That does not appear on the reflected display on the computer and various other things, including the date. In fact, it's just crashed the app. Oh. I don't know why I did that. Start it up again. Okay, so the date partly displays. what's that? Is that the time? No, that's the part of the date, and that's just not reflecting at all. That's the time, that's not reflecting at all. Oh, and that's a pity, because if it reflected the time, I could have the time up there on this, and that would help me to synchronize my work. So I'd tie up the video files nicely with this by looking at the time. Oh, that's a real shame that it doesn't do that. In fact, it seems to be displaying garbage up there. It's got all kinds of weird random numbers, 4396 appearing on the computer instead of the time here. Oh, that's a pity. So the app, useful though it is, doesn't really do data logging. The best way to do that is within the meter itself. So let's just pretend we want to do some data logging of our low ohms reading. You can just press the mem button and it'll start counting, but then it'll go as fast as it can, which is about every 200 milliseconds. We'll go for, say, 1 second readings. That might be a little bit more tidy. So let's go into, this is the setting, so that's the refresh rate for its readings. We're going to change that to 1. 0 is fast as it goes, 1 is 70 seconds. Press and hold setup. Now with the 1 second refresh stored, I think it's press and hold mem, and now it's making readings, and it's giving us a count there on the display of every time it's collected a new reading. So we'll let that run for, I don't know, some seconds, and then we'll stop it, and then we'll collect that data from the SD card inside here, which we can then plug into the computer, or micro SD card. But since we have Bluetooth, wouldn't it have been wonderful if there would have been a way of allowing the Bluetooth connection to access the micro SD card? It may be that that's physically impossible, that the Bluetooth connection is really just associated with the display and controls of the unit, and doesn't have a data route through to the memory card. But that would be a super feature, Dave, if you ever watch this, if it's possible to allow Bluetooth to access the SD card data. That would be an absolutely brilliant feature, which would save us having to take the meter to bits every time we want to get some data off the card. Right, we'll stop that capture. Okay, switch this off, and now we have this bit of a palaver to get the micro SD card out. I guess if you're going to be doing a lot of data logging, one thing you'd do is not use the rubberized case during the procedure. Right, micro SD card is there, and we can pop that straight into the front of this particular computer. So here's our CSV file, and we can open that with, well, in this case, OpenOffice. So, look, it gives us a preview, and we definitely want commas to separate the data. There we go. That's going to be tidy now. And we're getting, okay, the interval number, the date, the time. That is so useful, and your readings, and min and max as well. Okay, so you could plot that and do everything you need to do. So that is brilliant, apart from the fact it's inconvenient having to mess about with the SD card. Well, my final take, if you're lucky enough to get hold of one of these superb multimeters, firstly I would say try to get hold of some of these, or maybe some different sizes of crocodile clip that have got the threaded insert so they can go onto the probes. I think these came with some Keithley equipment years ago. If you're having trouble with Bluetooth, make sure you have a good quality Bluetooth receiver. So the one I found particularly good was a TP-Link, and this Chinesium thing I had was less successful, but it's actually one of two different models of cheaper Bluetooth receiver that didn't work for me. So I suspect that's not a one-off. It may apply to other people as well. It would be fantastic if in the future some updates were available that allowed the Bluetooth to access the SD card data, but I understand that that may not be physically possible due to the internal construction of the data within the multimeter. I'm absolutely delighted with this, and I'll be using it a lot for demonstrating to you guys when I'm working on equipment. I often work on audio and video equipment, that's what my channel is usually about, and it's been a terrible faff up to now trying to set it up so that the camera is pointing at the equipment I'm working on and the multimeter screen, and you're not getting reflections off it, and I can see it as well. It's just not very good, is it? So now I can reflect that onto the computer screen, and we can see the readings as we go along. It would have been wonderful if, and this might be something that is fixable, if that top display, when it's displaying time on the multimeter, does properly reflect up onto the display of the PC. That would make synchronizing all my work together when I'm doing the editing at the end a whole lot easier. Right, I hope you've enjoyed what I've done here. I'll do plenty more content, mainly on audio and video technology in the near future. Bye for now.